Hey there, Internet. Well, got some bad news for those of us in Washington. They're trying to run around the initiative we passed to limit property taxes, and the attempt that looked like it had gone down in other parts of the legislative session. They're trying to bring it back into an end run. What they did was, now they had a Senate bill called 5618. Long story short, instead of the property tax increase limit being 1% per year, they wanted to turn it to 3% per year. But that bill went to the state Senate's Committee on Local Government, Land Use, and Tribal Affairs. It never left committee. And yesterday, the 12th, was the last day they could consider bills from their House of Origin. And now they had public comment, but then they'd have to go through the whole process with the House. So they basically cut and pasted the bill over to Senate Bill 5770. And looking through this real quick, it is literally a cut and paste. And they went straight to the Ways and Means Committee, I think trying to avoid any kind of public comment. So you need to be contacting every state rep that you have contact information for, if you know some that outside of it, or you need to contact your own state legislators. And this is, of course, for everybody in Washington. If you're watching this and you're not from Washington, be paying attention, because politicians will always try and increase your taxes. It really doesn't matter where you are. And to be honest, if your state is collecting more in taxes this year than last year, they probably don't need more money. And the way inflation's been the last couple of years, most of us can't afford more taxes, but they don't care. So that's what's going on. It's kind of a bad bill alert here for those of us in Washington. Do be aware of it. I mean, obviously some are better than others on that. But yesterday was the last day to consider anything but things related to budget and revenue, and differences between houses. So the gun bill that none of us want, the House and Senate need to come to agreement on the amendments. That's the only hope we have of that not passing now, is the House and the Senate not agreeing on that amendment that was added to House Bill 1240. That's the only thing that could stop a assault weapons ban and then us having to sue. However, tax bills are bound everywhere. Democrats, of course, think that all of your money should be their money to spend with. They don't care about the impact on you. If you had a big jump in your property taxes, I mean, granted, all of the voted in stuff of, hey, we want an increase in tax revenue. We want to have a new levy. Every time you vote for that stuff, you are voting to increase your taxes. And of course, there was nothing that stops, as it is right now, if your local government can't pay its bills because actual inflation has caught up to them on the 1% limit, they have the ability to go to you as the voter and say, we're in a bind, we need to put a tax increase on the ballot. Here is why. We have tightened our belt. We're not adding employees. Got news for you. If your local government's adding employees and adding positions, they probably are just burning up money they don't need to. And they could say, we need this tax revenue. They don't want to do that because they don't want to have to justify what they do. And they're hoping that you'll forget a year and a half from now. And I was talking to somebody I know earlier today, and he was talking about how his hospital district wants to make a big increase in taxes. I said, well, vote against it. And I said, and by the way, I knew that they were trying to do this on 5618. I wasn't sure where it stood as far as making it through. I just knew it had existed. I said, if you didn't... Remember, it's the Democrats pushing it. And he started to go on about, oh, well, I'm not voting for anybody like Trump. And it's like, you can't project Trump onto all Republicans. This is why the Republican Party needs to be bigger than Trump. But I digress. And then I said, you should have voted for Culp. So and he wouldn't do that. But yet he's complaining about his taxes. Got news for you. Don't like taxes, stop voting for Democrats. But definitely contact your legislators and say, look, I'm a homeowner. This could result in a choice between me paying my property taxes and eating. They say, oh, well, it's just $1 per week. You add that up over the course of a year. When I was single, that was more than a week's groceries for me, because I was able to live on $40 of groceries with some creative budgeting and cooking, and I cooked my own meals. But that was still a week's worth of groceries. Put it in those terms to them. I can pay you my property taxes, or I can eat. Which is it going to be? You need to put it in those terms. So that's what's going on. Get on this. Get this shot down, because they're trying to end run around any kind of public comment, because I'm sure they don't want people to know that they're trying to undo an initiative approved by Washington State voters. And all of you in the other states, make sure you're checking up what mischief your state legislators are up to. Until then, you all take care.